Hello, my name is Ria, and if you haven't met yet, I'm using this YouTube channel as a way to record my journey in learning how to 3D model in Blender. I'm really excited to share with you where I am now and what skills I've learned so far, but also then to review where I am in like 20 videos time. Hopefully I'll have improved, hopefully I'll have learned some new things too, fingers crossed. This is episode 2 in my Blender Growth Diaries. In video 1 I spent time researching, then finding reference images, sketching up and then making a full-blown 3D model of a little acorn scout. I do love her so much. But progress doesn't stop there. We don't just make one thing that we're super proud of and then that's it, expert level, done. Instead we're going to spend a little bit of time reviewing what we've made and then also just looking at some things I've made historically and seeing where we could improve from here. So let's go. One of my favourite elements of this little acorn scout is her hat. I just love the texture and I think it compares really beautifully against the smoothness of the rest of the sculpt. Also, can we just point out her little face? Oh, she does look a little bit nervous, doesn't she? This must be her first camping trip, bless her. Anyway, this might sound really critical, but I don't think my style has changed since I've started sculpting. It just kind of looks quite flat. There is just a base with an object on top and there's not really very much dynamism, and that's something I'd really like to change. Let's take a moment to look at my most favourite sculpt that I've ever made. It's based on this illustration by Zhao Yulin. Now usually my sculpts do end up being quite sweet and quite cute, but I feel like this sculpt really embodies a completely different vibe. It feels very creepy considering you having this little mini version of the character staring straight into your soul. Let's run with the idea of being able to see inside someone's brain, a little bit like Inside Out, and then this whole scene pops out of her brain like it's a memory or maybe it's her dreams. Perfect, I think we've got a great concept, but I think I'm too impatient to actually make a sketch, so let's just get started. First of all, I do have to say I'm sorry for lying. I did end up making a sketch. Honestly, I tried to block out the character like 5 times without one and it just wasn't working. I realised that for my brain to actually make something good, I need a plan. Without a plan, it's just chaos. When I start a fresh sculpt, I usually start by blocking out the basic shapes. It's kind of like creating a rough sketch for a drawing. It might look like a bit of a hot mess at first, but that's okay. Honestly, the goal is just to get something into Blender. Unfortunately, we can't just put a potato in a bowl and it magically turns into mash. There's some other steps involved too. This hair was my Everest. I won't embarrass myself by sharing video clips of the amount of times that I had to restart it, but trust me, there was plenty. This is the first time I've tried showing the inside of someone's head, so I did need to make sure that the hair didn't intersect into the skull. You'll see more of that battle later. Whilst I was watching the time-lapse back, all I could think is why did I make the bars in such a bizarre way? But it did work, so I can't really complain. To be fair though, with Blender there are almost an infinite amount of ways you can make anything. Apparently that's the one I chose whilst I was sculpting, but hey, it worked out. After all that sculpting, we now have a spinny wheel of doom, a swing that seems to defy the laws of gravity, and a jungle gym that probably wouldn't pass health regulations. Ah, the park of dreams. pretty proud of how the plait turned out. It's a little crazy how a few simple shapes can come together and make it look like it's actually been woven. Plus, I did also learn something new, which is really exciting. The plaits were hanging a little bit stiff, so I wanted to add a little bit of movement and a little bit of interest too. And in came the Lattice modifier. Luckily with YouTube, there is so much information out there and so many tutorials that can be really helpful. In this instance, I used Ryan King Art's video on how to use the Lattice modifier. When in doubt, just YouTube it. Do feel free to drop a little comment below with any Blender YouTubers that you really like watching. It's always really nice to learn new things, plus it's always really interesting to see how other people approach 3D modelling too. Oh dear, we're back to the scalp hair. I mean, I have to applaud myself for my perseverance with this thing. It has been harsh. The great thing about trying once, then again, and then a few more times after that, is that you do learn little lessons each time. You just have to be a little bit more patient and trust in your skills as well. Apparently hindsight is very beautiful because that is not how I felt in the moment. Obviously, voiceover Rhea is far too positive because sculpting Rhea, no comment. All joking aside though, sometimes I think I'm pretty harsh on myself when I don't get it right the first time. But then I also do need to remember that I'm just learning. Plus, professionals don't always get it right the first time either. It turns out the best way to make the hair here was probably just to treat it like a helmet. Plus, the Solidify modifier did do a lot of the heavy lifting. We conquered Everest! I would scream that from my rooftop, but I think it'd be a little bit weird and not very neighbourly either. So I'll just celebrate this little win with you guys instead. Alrighty, I think it's about time that we clothe our character here. As the clothing won't be the main focus of this animation, I thought we'd keep it nice and simple. And obviously, to keep in theme of the whole sculpt, I'm going to pop her in some pyjamas. Doesn't she look nice and comfy? Skatoosh! I've never really used Shapekeys before, but it was a really interesting way to add some expression to my character here. By using Eve's Sculpts tutorial, I was able to add movement so she had her eyes wide open and then closed as if she was falling asleep, which I thought was the perfect addition to this little sculpt. Once again, we're at that stage where we're just blocking out little bits of animation. To be honest, at this point you don't really need to worry about the timings. All that really matters is making sure that you're aware of how things are going to move within your scene, and just block that out so you have something down. Everything else can always be edited later. I don't really have any other experience with animation or editing besides within Blender. Because of that, I couldn't really tell you whether Blender is intuitive with the way that it works or not. But speaking as a beginner, I do think it's quite easy to use once you understand the basic principles. Here are some YouTube videos that were really helpful when I started learning how to keyframe animate, and I did refer to them whilst I was making this model too. I wanted the swings and the roundabout to move in the same kind of pattern and the same kind of cycle, so I mostly used the transform sidebar to edit the rotation and also the location of each item too. Honestly, I'm a really big advocate. If there is something that you can use to make things a lot easier to do, just go for it. I do find it a bit bizarre that people sometimes think it's lazy to do so, but honestly, if it saves your sanity, just do it to spite them anyway. Now it's time to refine the animation. At the moment the swings are almost going at turbo speed, and that's not what we want. Instead, I wanted the swings to almost move sluggishly, as if they were being pushed by the wind. I wanted to add an element of creepiness to it and make it look as if the park had been deserted for a long while. And now I'm immensely excited to share with you all the final sculpt. The final sculpt with colour. And the final render. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pretty fantastic journey and I hope you've enjoyed tagging along too. Although I don't encourage you to give your own creation nightmares, I do hope this inspires you to push your boundaries and try something new as well. Thank you once again for joining me. Bye-bye!